Okay.
The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to TechGig webinar series, our endeavor to empower techies. We believe that sharing of knowledge is a key to enhance our skills and grow us as professionals. With this principle in mind, we have initiated a series of webinars conducted by industry experts to give you all a crisp insight of various domains. The topic of today's session is Importance of Understanding Business Value of IT Projects. And our guest speaker today is Subhash K. Parmaswaran. He is the General Manager, Information Services with UST Global. Subhash is currently General Manager with UST Global, heading the Information Services Department. Before joining UST, Subhash was an Associate Director in Gartner Consulting's Strategic Sourcing Practice. In this role, he was an advisor, CIOs, and business leaders regarding outsourcing of IT and BPO. Additionally, he was involved in projects in the areas of IT strategy, sourcing strategy, ERP business case development, and IT governance design in a variety of industries. Prior to Gartner, Subhash worked at a healthcare product company and a not-for-profit organization. He started his career with Wipro. He brings more than 25 years of experience in the field of technology consulting, software development, and project management in both offshore and onshore delivery models. Subhash earned a bachelor's degree in computer science from Calicut University, Kerala, and an MBA from Southern Methodist Universities in Dallas, Texas. So, without further delay, I introduce you all to our guest speaker. Over to you, Subhash.
Thank you, Aradhana. Good afternoon, everybody. Today we will spend some time on a topic that I'm very passionate about. I have seen people developing software for the past 25 years. And in my experience, the successful software development, the applications come from people that really understand the business process and the business value of their output, of their applications that they develop. So today we will spend some time discussing the importance of understanding business value of IT projects. So when we go to the next slide, as it shows up, this is an example from my own life. I had this very excited programmer come and tell me, I'm pretty sure he spent a lot of hours trying to develop this cool feature on a new mobile app where you can shake the phone and change the user ID. And I'm thinking, that is cool, but what is the business value? How many times a phone user will be changing the user ID on his mobile phone? The mobile phones are a personal device. The people will be using it for their own purpose. So he has spent an enormous amount of effort developing a cool feature that nobody will use. So this is typical of a lot of features and a lot of technologies that we try to implement in IT projects. Going to the next slide, these are the key questions that I would like to talk about today. So what are the challenges that typically application development faces because the team does not fully understand the business process, or they don't know where their application will be used, or who the end user of this application will be. Even though people are aware of a lot of these challenges, why is it difficult? Why is there a hesitance for the programmers to learn the business process? Then we will get into what are the advantages of understanding the business process for an individual as well as for the organizations engaged in building applications, or the end user organizations itself where the IT teams build their own applications. Then we will talk a little more about the importance of articulating the business value of the IT project. So you understand the business process, and then you start thinking about the business value your product has brought to the table. And how can organizations help in this area of ensuring that the IT developers, programmers, architects, testers, business analysts, all these people understand the business process and understand the business value in IT projects. These are the key questions that we will try to answer in this session today. So going to the next slide. What is the challenge? Why is it difficult for people? So starting from schooling, we are, especially in India, we are tuned to solving equations. That is the focus area in school. So we get to do a lot of math problems, and we are very eager. Most of us are at least very eager to go through the mechanical process of solving equations. But I am pretty sure, even in my own case, I'm pretty sure while I was going through that process, I never thought about what is the relevance. Why am I spending all this time trying to find the x, or trying to solve this quadratic equation, or trying to do this complex integration, or trying to solve a very complex equation that requires multiple variables to be found. I never thought about that, and I'm sure most people don't. They just blindly follow and solve the equations. Then if you leave math, if you take another subject like history, there is a lot of importance in learning the years of when certain things happened, the poets that lived in that time, a lot of information on the events rather than the social impact. Why are we studying history? We are studying history because history has set the tone for today's society. So several of those historical events would have contributed to the way people behave today. That we don't study. We just study the date on which the Panipat war was fought, or the revolutions that a particular king brought into, the number of trees a particular king planted. Those are the focus areas when we study history, not the changes that it brought into the society and how that change is reflecting in certain behavior of the people today. Similarly, when you learn theorems or formulae without understanding the impact, we just blindly learn those theorems and by heart, and we don't know. I mean, when you learn a theory like every force has an equal and opposite reaction, we just learn that by heart. What does that mean? Nobody internalizes that. And as we get more and more into engineering, and people get into technology, people get into study computer science, the focus is on the coolness factor of the technology. Are we using the latest technology? Are we using the latest mobile phone? Is that the in thing today, rather than looking at what is the business impact? What is the actual utility of the end product we are creating? We create we learn about sort algorithms, we do very complex sort algorithms, but how is the sort algorithm used for a real life scenario? That no one studies. So these things contribute to why the learning of business process is difficult for people. Now, why is it important to understand the business process or understand the business? Traditionally, maybe about 10 years back or even before, IT has been seen as a support function or an enabling function, where the business will say, I want to do this complex data manipulation, and it would be easier if you have a computer. So it all started with it used to be called data processing. When computers originated, the department that supported computers were called Electronic Data Processing Department, or EDP department. Then as the data evolved, and as the IT teams became more savvy in analyzing this data and making it useful for business, it started becoming the information services department. So data has become information. So it is now changing into the knowledge level. So now there are chief knowledge officers. What you will do is the information that you have. That information is actually provided, and IT is becoming the key driver for core business. So if you look at how the CEOs of companies, not the CIOs, the CEOs of companies spend time today, they spend a lot of time on IT strategy. That was not the case 15 years back. The CEOs did not care about the IT strategy. The CEOs will say, I want this report, I want that report, and that was pretty much it. Today, the CEO spends significant amount of time on IT strategy, and they bring the CIOs on the board of onto the board of directors, and they participate in the strategic decisions. When the CEOs and the CFOs talk to the analyst community for their quarterly reviews or so, they spend a lot of time discussing how they are using information technology to change their business, to improve their cost performance, and to improve customer satisfaction. They spend a lot of time on that. And there are new business models that the traditional businesses are being now driven by the new business models that are driven by technology. So for example, if you take mobile payments, so previously payments, IT was used a little bit. Today, IT is the major point of receiving payments. You will very few areas where you can go physically into a counter and pay cash. You would either pay it electronically online, or you would pay it through your mobile, or you would pay it through a cash broker. Similarly, e-commerce has become the mainstream activity. Rather than going into a store, people spend time online shopping. Uber is another classic example, an industry that never thought will use technology to this extent. Traditionally, if you wanted a taxi, you would get out and either call a taxi company, or you just go outside and just call a taxi that is going in the road. Today you have Uber, and you do all the transactions online. And a lot of the marketing that companies do are now becoming context-driven. They are targeting the right audience, and they're using data analytics for that. So in order to provide the strategic recommendations where the organization should go, IT should understand the business process in depth. What happens is, typically business groups, they tend to think in silos. So when the marketing department wants it, they are only thinking about the marketing aspect of it. They are not thinking about the operations aspect. They are not thinking about the sales angle. They are not thinking about the supply chain. Whereas IT, they have a view into all these departments, and they can think about all these. And when strategic decisions made, they can bring up these questions, and they can engage the right departments that may be affected by this strategic decision. Going to the next slide. So, why would you think business? So when you know the business, you can ask the right questions. A lot of times, this I have seen from the very beginning of my career. People will come and ask for something. The business users will come and ask for a report, and we would print this 200-page report and give it to them. And then they would go through that report trying to find out the two scenarios where something was missing. So instead of the business user spending 3 or 4 days going through this 200-page report, trying to find the two anomalies. If they had told us our intent is to find this anomaly, then we could have just created a report with the exceptions. Rather than generating this report of 200 pages, it would have been a report with 2 lines in it. That would have saved the business 3 days of time, and it would have saved 200 pages of paper. So if we know business, when they come and ask for a requirement, ask for a report, we will ask them, what is this for? And then they will start explaining. So most of the situations, the requirements that they have may not be the reason why they are asking those reports or they are asking for those changes. If you ask the right questions, it will help in treating the root cause. So sometimes they will ask for changes. I had an example where people wanted to change the way the application worked, because it was not sending the approvals to 3 people. It was only sending it to 2 people. Then when we started asking the questions, it was just that the reporting structure was not set properly in the system. It was not an application problem. If the reporting structure was set properly, it only needs to go to 2 people. The other reason is it can improve applications usability. So I used to work for a blood center, and we used to have this application that we thought was working very well, and the business never complained about anything. The application, what it did was when they collect blood from volunteer donors, all the blood bags are brought into the lab, and the blood bags are checked into the system using a barcode that is already attached. Then there is a series of testing that gets performed on those blood to make sure that there is no infectious disease in that blood. So we had the system that would do all this, and suddenly one day there was a major event that happened in the US, which prompted a lot of people to come and volunteer to donate blood. So typically we were getting about 300 units of blood a day, and the organization was staffed up to manage the 300 units of blood. But that day we got like 900 units of blood, because this event people wanted to show sympathy and support, and they all came in voluntarily to donate blood, and we didn't want to send them back. So the organization collected all that blood, and then they asked all of us to volunteer to see if we can help out in the labs to get all this blood information into the system. So when we actually started using that, we found out that this can be done much more efficiently. The sequence that they were using to enter the blood information into the system was entirely wrong. If we had our way, we would do it totally differently, and then we went back and we made those changes to the system, which really helped the users save a lot of time and reduce a lot of redundant activities. The other thing is to understand the end users of this application. There are certain users who are very savvy doing certain things manually. So if you take typical finance people, they would love to do everything in Excel and then give us that final output. They are very comfortable with that, but then it requires a lot of time outside the system, and there is a lot of error proneness in that model, and there could be copy paste errors, there could be calculation errors, there could be data sitting in their local machines which shouldn't be sitting there. We can look at all that, and we can eliminate all that if we really understand the end users for this application, and then design the applications for that. So some examples of what helps when you know the business. So we had, I had a situation where one of my clients asked, why are you spending so much effort in learning the business? We only want to do technology work from you guys. We don't want you to do so much work on the business, but why don't you want to spend time learning the business? And one of the junior team members who was in the team, who was in that meeting, said that when I know the business, this was a healthcare client, and the person said that when I know the business, I know that if I make a mistake, it could affect somebody's life, and that really changed the discussion from that point onwards. So in healthcare, it is very important for you to understand that when you make a mistake, it is affecting people's lives. In retail, you will have experiences that you have faced while visiting a store. For example, I was at a retail store recently, and the POS systems went down suddenly. It created so much commotion in the store, and major dissatisfied customers. People were just leaving whatever they picked up there and walking out of the store, and so much loss of revenue for that business. It was only down for half an hour, but the lines by that time had become very long, and a lot of people got upset and they were yelling and screaming. So that is the importance of understanding how critical, if you're working on a point of sale system, how critical it is to make sure that your system is not is going error-free. Similarly, relate to your experience while going to a bank, when you're working on a banking project, and see how it will impact you when you are in the receiving end of this application. Now, as we try to look at why are developers reluctant to learn the business process. So we talked about our early schooling priorities and the way we have grown up of this mechanical problem solving, or this when we get a problem, we just need to fix that problem, just the symptoms, not looking at the root cause. Many a times it is the lack of awareness. I have seen that when you when you make them understand the business once, then they will want to do it every time. So they will spend the effort to understand why it is important for them. Most of the time, it is that lack of awareness. There is also this peer pressure to learn the cool technology. So people are going after learning the technology. They will spend their training hours on learning newer technologies rather than understanding a business process. And many organizations also have the wrong priorities. They are pushing technical trainings rather than the business knowledge. Then when you look at the overall available trainings within the organizations, most of them are for technical trainings rather than for the business process, or the certifications are available only for the technical trainings. And then when organizations look for people, they look for people with Java certification, or that specialist or project management certificate, the functional certifications, or Informatica certification, or things like that. Not very few people really look for a business process certification or that domain certification when they are looking for developers. As you go move forward, what is the advantage really of understanding the business requirement? If you're a developer, it will give you a better understanding of what you need to develop, and you can relate better to the end users of the product of your application. And usually there are reduced errors and rework, which is also better when you're a developer. When you have to do the rework on your application over and over again, it's boring. There will be less code rejections and customer escalations, which is good for you. Better acceptance of the applications by the end user, which means it helps with smooth change management. There is also increased customer satisfaction, leading to a job satisfaction. So when you are a developer, when you know that your application is well accepted by the end users, that gives you a job satisfaction. And the most important thing is that you will know the true impact of the work you delivered. So if you are developing an application in healthcare, and if you know that you have delivered an application that could save people's lives, or if you are developing an application for a retail store, if you know that you have helped that store deliver products much cheaper for their customers, you have made an impact to people. So these are some of the advantages for the developers. Now, if you look at it from the organization's perspective, the quality of your deliverables will be much better. You will have reduced cost of rework. Because people have understood what they are doing, the end user's perspective, the sequence of how the application should work, they will get better customer satisfaction. The internal team members, the developers who are actually being satisfied with their work more, will deliver that improved morale. It will also help in increasing retention and better public relations, of course. You are delivering better quality applications. All this will lead to more revenues as well. Now, moving on to business value. Business value is typically not on the top of the mind of IT teams. So I have done this many times. I have gone around and asked, what is the business value of the project you are working on? Very few people are able to answer that. They tend to talk about how their application is moving large volume of data, how their application is analyzing large databases, how their application is able to do this really nice user interface for an e-commerce application. They can talk about all that, but very few people actually think about the business value. They talk about the complexity of technologies. They'll say that we have used the latest technologies in this application. They have a multi-tier architecture. We are using cloud. We are using Agile, Scrum. All these are priorities for them, but not the business value. Now, when you talk like that to the end user, to the business users, they find it very confusing. They have no idea what these guys are talking about, and they don't see the value. Now, for one thing that every developer, every software personnel, software engineer should understand is all the businesses are in business to make money. So you need to understand how your company or your client makes money. I have asked this question to many of my team members. If you are Google, how does Google make money? It takes a long time for them to think and come back and tell me that, okay, they make money from advertising. So when you understand how the company or the client makes money, it will help in developing the right solutions for them. And it will also help in articulating that business value. The next thing you should do is to learn how to read financial statements. The financial statements will reveal a lot of information about how the business makes money, how it spends money, what are the higher costs. For example, I was looking at this at the financial statement of one company and found out that they spend a lot of money on postage. So that was very surprising to me. In this age, some companies spending a lot of money on postage. We found out that instead of sending email notifications of a lot of their output, they are actually printing and sending it in the mail. So we took it up with the client, and that really helped improve the level of conversation we were having with that client. So the project teams should be able to articulate the business value in terms of how much additional revenue this project will bring in. And it is a very difficult thing to find out for each project. If you have to really figure out how much additional revenue this will bring in, because we are all engineers, most of the people in this industry, we are all engineers, and the engineers would want it to be exact. And this is not an exact science. This is an approximation. This is an estimate. So you should be able to estimate how much money, how much of the additional revenue this application will generate, or the cost savings due to the productivity improvements that you've brought in. So if you have helped to reduce the effort of 5 people by 5 hours, that is 25 hours of work that is saved per day. So 25 hours per day, you can easily translate that into dollar values. Similarly, increased customer satisfaction is another. So if you have a good application with good user interface that is given to end users, it will improve their customer satisfaction compared to having the customer come to your retail office and then discuss an issue. So those are some of the ways we can look at how to demonstrate business value. Now, how can organizations help in improve training, in improving this business process understanding? One is to make it fun. You cannot ask people to read a 200-page document on the business process and expect them to understand and understand everything and start becoming business process proficient. So you have to make it fun. So you can make games out of it. You can have role plays. You can have quizzes. You have to make it really fun. And it has to be made required, just like the technical trainings. Business process trainings have to be required. It has to be mandatory. Then they have to prioritize that. So you cannot put all your priorities on the technical trainings. You have to also put some priority on the business trainings. I have seen that engaging peer groups to drive adoption is very good. So identify a group of catalysts who are business process savvy and engage them to communicate that to the peers, and that will increase the adoption. When people see that the individuals that understand the business processes are getting the better projects and they are getting the faster growth, automatically this will propagate. And then of course, when somebody comes up and communicates a good business value for the projects they did, reward them. So who should do this? Not just the business analyst, but this should be done. The business process learning should be part of everyone involved in the SDLC process. So the architects should know, the programmers should know, the testers should know, anyone else that may be part of your software development life cycle, they all should know the business process, and they all should communicate in terms of the business process. So I have provided some learning sites, some repositories that can help with this learning. Coursera and Udacity have several courses. These are free courses that anyone can take, and a lot of them have business process component. There are also good courses on understanding financial accounting, financial management, business strategies. All that will be very useful for people to learn, and these are free courses, so you don't even have to pay. Once you do that, you can go to sites like Seeking Alpha. They provide industry trends, and as things happen, they provide a news site, and when the CEO speaks to the analyst community, they will provide the transcripts on the site. So you can go through and understand how different companies operate and explain how their business work. And there are industry certifications also. These are, this level of certification is more relevant for the business analyst, but it is good for people to at least go through the courses, if not get the certification. So healthcare payer, there are CAHIM, CPHIM, AHMs, life insurance has LOMA, retail industry has NRF, Healthcare quality has CPHQ. There are so many other search certifications relevant to your industry that you can easily search in Google and find out. So in summary, for the development teams, change the mindset about business learning. Not just the business analyst, but all the team members should learn business. They should prioritize they should prioritize business learning and understand and articulate the business value generated by the projects. The organization should prioritize this. Basically, a lot of companies are not understanding why this is an important part of the IT team's work. They are just focusing on the technical trainings rather than the business process trainings. So this will help them stay ahead of competition and better business directions from IT. All right, so that is the end of my discussions. There are questions, we can answer them now.
Thanks for the insightful presentation, Subhash. Let's quickly take up the questions now, as you have mentioned. I request you to read out the questions and their answers so that all our users may listen to your insight.
Sure. So I have the first question from Pramod. We have a planned schedule which spawns for over 6 months before it goes to production. Since the developer is more focused in completing his deliverables and less focused on business values, how can we enforce the developers to focus more on the business value delivered? So I'm sure that these developers are also spending time on learning the technology. So and in a lot of situations, I totally understand the project pressures and the timelines. The right priority on each of those, and it's not that you are on these kind of projects throughout the year. You mentioned 6 months you have a project, so after 6 months he might get 2 weeks off or 2 weeks time before the next project starts. At that time, maybe he should spend more time on understanding the business process, or before the project kicks off. So when the project starts, there is a phase where people are doing the design, or people are looking at developing the requirements document. At that time, spend some extra time to learn the business, and that will definitely help reduce the time required for executing the project. Hope that answers. Okay, the next question is from Srinivas. Is there any levels of understanding about business for a developer? I mean, this is again a problem with our engineering thinking. Don't worry about the levels of understanding. When you know the business, it takes you to a different plane altogether. I mentioned I used to work at a blood bank. So there was a guy which really inspired me, that thought really inspired me. There was a guy who one day mentioned that he was under some stress, but and the manager was giving him a hard time, and he just said that, I know that every meal I eat, every shirt I wear comes from a volunteer blood donor that comes here to donate the blood. So I will put all my effort in making sure that the application that I develop is uh, going to be better, going to make his life better. So once people start thinking like that, it really elevates the way they operate, and it really elevates the way they deliver. So don't worry about the levels of understanding of business as long as they can communicate in terms of the end users and how those applications will change. Application will change the life of the end user. How it will make the life simpler for the end user. That should be good enough. How is the next question from Vamshi Varma? How is the domain knowledge different from business value or process? Domain knowledge is important. Domain knowledge is required to demonstrate the business value. So when you understand the domain knowledge, you will clearly know how this application is going to be used. Now, to demonstrate the business value, you need to clearly take the impact of this application, break it down to the revenue that it will generate, or the cost savings it will generate, or the customer satisfaction it will generate, some metric that the CEO cares about. That is where we can demonstrate business value. Domain knowledge will just tell you or will just help you execute the project or do a project very well, and that is required as well. That is mandatory to even get to the level of business value. Next question comes from Ashlesha. Business learning in IT products means where is it useful? So I'm assuming the question is about learning business for in an IT products kind of a company. So the products that that company generates will eventually be used by an end user for some purpose. So if you take the example of a Microsoft, the products that you develop are used by a wide variety of individuals as well as a wide variety of businesses. So you need to know the end user. You need to know how that works. That will definitely help you improve your products. Next question from Navneeta Krishnan. If we align the goals and objectives in line with the organizational objectives, then how do I measure the success criteria whether I achieved the business objectives? So see, I can give you some examples here. I mean, you have to pick it up. It depends on your particular industry. It depends on your particular company's objectives, etc. So if you take an example, if you take, say, insurance company, and they have this claims processing. One of their business goal will be to automate as many claims processing as possible without having to manually do that claim, process that claim. So increasing that business, increasing that claim processing automation would be a business priority, and there will be a dollar value associated with the manual processing involved. So if 10% of your claims are processed manually, they will have a set of team members, maybe about 100 people processing that 10% of the claims. Now, if you increase it by 5%, you might be able to reduce that 100 people's effort by to about 50 people. So that is a business value that you have brought in. And you can define the success criteria as closely to the business as possible. So you can define your IT organization success criteria to the tune of increase your revenues by X% through automation. So especially if you're a company that is getting into the new age of e-commerce or into more of online trading, or if you're utilizing technology to do more of analytics to target your end users or end customers, then you can align it with that. What is the key role in mobile app development? I'm not sure. The question is from Sanjeev. I'm not sure what exactly that means. The key role in mobile applications, I don't really understand the question. If the question is about how to think about business in mobile app development, I already mentioned a few examples. By this bringing in this mobile applications, are you generating more revenue for the organization? Then obviously there is a connect there. Another question from Navaneet Krishnan. I am supporting my partner who sells my product on my behalf, who in turn resells to the end customer. In this case, how do I match my objectives? And is that more towards my partner or customer? You have to eventually think of the end customer. The partner doesn't exist if the end customer is not buying your product. So always you have to turn to the end customer who's actually paying the money for your product. Partner is just a middleman making the money from you and from the customer. So your target should be understanding what the end customer wants. Without the end customer, you both don't exist. Okay, one more question here from Kamlesh. What should be step in delay of converting business in information technology to provide business? What should be step in delay of information? I really don't understand the question here. Should be step in delay of converting business in information technology to provide business. I am sorry, I don't understand this question.
Subhash, if you would like to sum up the session for today, you can do it now.
All right. Okay. Thank you all for listening to the session today. I hope I added some value in getting people to think about the business value and think about business process and how it will improve their satisfaction, their job satisfaction, and how it will improve how they think about their job. So thank you again, and thank you TechGig.com for providing this opportunity. Hope to see you again soon. Thanks.
And I'm really thankful to our guest speaker today for conducting this wonderful webinar with us. It was indeed a great session. I would also like to thank all our participants for their support in making this webinar a success. The recording of the webinar will be available on TechGig.com by tomorrow. Thank you all for joining us today. Thank you, Subhash, for taking the time out and having us. I hope you have a great time ahead.
Thank you. Thank you, Aradhana.
Thank you, sir. Bye-bye.